Are we any delay now? Right. So this is attempt number 2 of this fucking thing. I can never do a one take ever. Like when I come on, anytime I have it, when I'm on my own, I can do one take, no bother at all. It works perfectly for me. But once I have a guest on, it's just like nah. Do you know what I mean?
Man, I tried to do a one take. I tried to do a podcast myself, but just me, I can't do it. I can't talk in a room by myself. I find it so unnatural. And
sure. I talk to myself anyways because I'm mad. So no, but just hold on. Yeah, I think that's grand now. Right now, because it was for the viewers at home, there was a delay, a pretty noticeable delay as well. You didn't just have to have OCD to notice it. Like it was.
You don't have to tell them that.
Yeah, true. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, then now they'll fucking notice if there is any delays throughout it. But yeah, so this is episode 21 of the ST podcast. We're going to be rebranding because turns out I went on to his app there, Podcast Addict, and there's about 300 Shy Talk podcasts or something with the variation of the word shy in it. So ST podcast, or they can start calling me Saint podcast or whatever. But
Street.
Street podcast. Yeah. So this is episode 21. Last episode was about weed panic attacks. This should be out this Saturday. Yeah, this will be up this Saturday. So which will be, I don't know what day. I haven't got the brain capacity to think of what try out updates. But
I don't even know what day it is.
Yeah, certainly neither do I. So it'll be up this Saturday. But I've been looking forward to having you on. Joseph McGucken. We've figured out in the last take. But so
we're the host doesn't know his guests.
Yeah, exactly. No, because I was like, surely that's McGucken. I was looking at it and then I was just like, right, grand. But then it was like what I was talking about with Dylan when he came on. When we talk about Robin Williams, my brain just says, say Robbie Williams. It just says, say Robbie Williams. And I'm like, no, do you know what I mean? And the same thing when I see your name, it's Joseph McGucken, my brain's like, McGuigan. I'm like, it isn't. It doesn't even look like McGuigan. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, fuck's sake. But so you've been involved with the Windup merchants for a while, haven't you? You bring out skits and stuff like that.
Yeah,
different sketches.
I've been making sketches as the Windup merchants for about 5 years, coming up to 5 years.
Yeah.
Maybe it's been 5 years. I don't know. Kind of lost count. It's kind of frightening when you look at an old video and it's like 5 years ago. Do you ever see a Facebook post and it's like, holy shit, that was 7 years ago?
Yeah. It's mental.
That's what it's like with the sketches. But the first, I know it was February. So I suppose in February it'll be 5 years because the first sketch I done as the Windup merchants was a Valentine's Day sketch.
Right.
So it'll have to be February. But yeah, so 5 years. But before that, I was making sketches with one of the lads that's in the Windup merchants, Dave McDermott.
Yeah.
Just on my own channel, Joe Fast Fingers. And
yeah.
Really old stuff, like 10 years old now. Back sort of at the dawn of YouTube, when sketches were longer than 15 seconds.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So that's what I've been up to. Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, no, I've been watching some of your stuff for ages. It's fucking hilarious. Like especially the recent one had me in fucking tears. The one of the lad who always wants a fight. I just didn't. I don't think anyone's seen the ending coming. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, just he's great, yeah, man. Just the way,
that's David. Yeah,
just his what part really got me when he was talking about. He's like, you probably had a cup of tea already, so didn't you? And then he's like, well, yeah, nice one. Like just interrupts him with that. That was fucking great. Yeah, but no, it's real. It's funny stuff, and
he's just such a dickhead, and I'm just looking for trouble.
Yeah, and then he's just because everyone you're captured in with like, this is a fella who's real rowdy or whatever, and then you just don't expect to see the skirt and heels. Like, you know what I mean? You just don't. That's the last thing you expect to see. Just like, just letting you know, we piss standing up. Like, and I'm not looking anywhere different. It's fucking great. But
this would be really weird for anyone who didn't see the sketch. Like, what the fuck are they? Then he's wearing a skirt.
Yeah, what are they talking about? People don't
for trouble.
Don't watch this after smoking a joint. You be going south. You think you enter another dimension. But
or do watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't watch. If you watch last week's one about having a panic attack on weed, don't come straight to this one. But I seen you done a bit of work with Darren recently as well. Did you?
Darren Conway. Yeah. We've been working a bit together. I made some stuff for him a while ago, and we've been meaning to kind of get together and collaborate a little bit more because I think our styles of comedy work well together.
Definitely, yeah, 100%.
So me, him, and Jer Walsh is a filmmaker, so we've just been making some sketches aside from the Windup merchants, like, so just to kind of elaborate on the wacky the two styles of comedy.
Yeah, no, that's great because your styles are quite similar, and then but they are they not so much contrasting in a sense. They would work quite well, especially because Darren's is kind of like the fact that he has kind of these nameless characters in a sense, where he's kind of like the stupid dub sort of like you back in the gym, bro, like all of that, and then like the outfit that he does, like the talking about the 9-year-old meals and talking about like ask me what bleeding aftershave I'm wearing and that. So like he's fantastic. Like some of the things he brings out, you watch it and you're just like, why am I laughing at that? Do you know what I mean?
I know. But that's what I find so interesting about it, is because like he could put up, like his brain works a different way than my brain. So when he could put up a fucking stat. I remember when he put up something about Mary Lou McDonald.
Yeah.
It was just one tweet, and that was hilarious, and I couldn't think of that.
Yeah.
But then when he said it, the way my brain is working is like, stretch that tweet into a 10-minute sketch. Like that's the way I don't think short form. He thinks short form, and then I love to drag that out and kind of make it long form.
Yeah, that's class. Yeah.
So that's why I think it works really well too. And then Jer Welch stylistically just makes it. Did you see the Bosco one?
Yeah.
Like that's Jer Welch's fucking. He's a brilliant videographer, a filmmaker.
Yeah, no, that's
and director.
Yeah, that's class. No, and that's one thing as well that I've always wanted to get into since. I was meaning to ask you as well. Where did you go to school? Secondary school?
Marino.
Right, Marino. Yeah, no, and it was just. Were you when you were in school? Did you know then that you wanted to do something comedy based? And did you pursue it while you were in school, or did you wait till you were finished school to kind of pursue things like that?
It's weird. I wanted to do it when I was in school. Because when I was in school, I was also in a youth club, and they had like a film club. Yeah. And me and David and Daryl, actually the Windup merchants, kind of started in Swan Youth Club making short films. They have like a film festival for. I was saying about the film festival. Yeah. Real Youth Film Festival. I helped them make. I help edit their short films, and that's kind of where I started making films. It was in that youth club and using the facilities, like they had cameras, they had editing software, and that was all while I was in 3rd year and 5th year maybe. Yeah. So I was into it, but then even in school, I asked the guidance counsellor. Yeah. When I was leaving, like they were talking about college and stuff. What do you want to do in college? Sorry, I'll knock that off.
No bother.
I asked. He said to me, "What do you want to do?" Mm-hmm. And I says, "I want to work in film, or I want to edit, or I want to do something like that." And he says, "No, you can't. Like, what do you actually want to do? Like, what do you want to go on and do?" And I'm like, "That's what I want to do.
Yeah,
I want to work in television or film. Like, that's the." But he didn't give me any advice, any guidance at all, which was so, like, in hindsight, was so bad, because you can make a career out of
big time,
TV and film, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, big time.
It was so bizarre that he said that.
Yeah, it's kind of typical though of guidance counsellors, and I think I touched on this in a previous podcast. If I had a euro for saying that, I touched on this in a previous podcast. I think I say it at least 3 times in every episode, but I did. I was talking about, like, for example, I was in Chanel, just there in Coolock Village. And as if you need to, you know where Chanel is, you know what I mean? But so I was in there, and there was
unless you were talking about the perfume shop.
Yeah, true. I could have been there, yeah. But I have the looks like a spoof. But that's bollocks. But I was in Chanel, and we had a guidance counsellor, and he who shall remain nameless, Mr. Woods, and he used to always say, kind of like, he'd just be adamant on someone getting a course, right? He used to always say to me, "Do you like horticulture?" And I'm like, "What the fuck is horticulture?" Right? He's like, "The study of plants." I'm like, "What the no, I don't like horticulture." Do you know what I mean? And then he just want you to just put down, just fill your CAO. And a lot of students were caught up in this kind of cloud of, he cares about my future. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, all they want is you're just a percentage in hindsight. You're just a percentage, and the higher percent of students who go on to 3rd level it looks better for the school than it looks.
It's a statistic. It makes them look better.
Exactly. It literally, it's a success rate of the school, and that's kind of what the guidance counsellor job really is. It's not for guidance. It's to get you into a fucking 3rd level course that you probably don't want to do. Like, the dropout rate for most courses is crazy. Do you know what I mean? Like, people go on and they, like, I was in engineering and I dropped out of it because it was fucking shite. You know what I mean? It was just physics and maths non-stop, and I didn't like maths in school. I done ordinary level maths, and then to go on to engineering where it's applied maths was just crazy. Yeah. But I always wanted to get into comedy and get into things like that when I didn't know I wanted to get into podcasting until I done it once, and then I realized like I love it, like, and but the reason I didn't when I was in school is it was kind of more so like
What did you have podcast? They didn't have podcasts when I was in school.
No, me neither actually. Yeah, the first podcast I would have heard of was Joe Rogan in about 2016. I would have heard of that. That was probably the first real podcast I would have heard of.
4 years ago.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Not the Ricky Gervais show.
No. I know that now, but I wouldn't have known it back in the day. It would have been the Joe Rogan podcast because, like, as I've said in previous podcasts, like I used to smoke, and like Joe Rogan is a big thing with stoners. You know what I mean? Like, smoke a joint and watch Joe Rogan, like, which is fantastic. It's great. It's a great thing to do. Do you know what I mean? It's a day out for the whole family. Like, but like no, but like it's what a lot. So that's why I was watching a lot of Joe Rogan, and I was like, oh yeah, space is you, doesn't it? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's but every episode is like very, very similar to each other. Who would win in a fight, a bear or a gorilla? Like, it's just. But no, he's good though. He's the godfather of podcasts. Really, at the end of the day. But it was kind of the thing that kind of stopped me in school was like the thought of judgment and the thought of like lads calling you a weirdo if you did pursue something like that. You know what I mean? And I think that's my own fault. That's no one else's fault. I should have said fuck that and just went for things. It was only when I finished school and I kind of went through 3 years of a job that I really didn't like, office work. It was then that I realised I was just like, shit, if I want to do something, I have to do it now. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't want to. I actually met a lad who I was working with on the Savage Eye. His name is gone from my head now. He has a certain look to him. You'd know him straight away when you see him. He kind of looks a little bit like a non-cartoon Homer Simpson. I forget his name now, but he's a comedian. But a real life Homer. And if he sees this now, he'd be crying. But I seen him, and I remember telling him, I was like, oh, I worked with you on the Savage Eye. He was like, oh, look, mate, I can't remember you because it was years ago, but if my advice to you is, if you're going to get into comedy, get into it now. He goes, I'm nearly 40 and I've only gotten into it in the past couple of years, and I'm freaked that I did. So that was one thing that I realised. I was like,
is he a comedian?
He's a comedian and he's an actor. Yeah,
real life Homer Simpson.
A little bit like real life Homer Simpson.
Carl Spain.
I think it might be him. Yeah. I think it might be him. Yeah, right. Yeah. I think his name was Carl. Yeah, but So
I can see that resemblance. Already.
Yeah. So that was the advice I got kind of off him, and it was the advice I've been giving myself as well. If I want to do something, you kind of have to do it young as well. Do you know what I mean? Young enough anyway. But
you kind of. I don't know. Comedy is such a broad spectrum. It's like, saying that you want to get into comedy is like, there's so many different avenues.
Yeah.
Of, like stand-up comedy, writing. Novels, like comedy is so broad, and even streaming, podcasts, like comedy covers everything. You know what I mean? Everything, think of anything and you can just cover it with comedy. Do a comedy version of that avenue. You know?
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. I think I would like to get into writing sketches and stuff like that, because of like, I think I was talking to he's a content creator as well, Ryan Marr. He makes a lot of videos on. He's in that fucking Go House, that TikTok Go House. But I was talking to him on Instagram about sketch writing and stuff like that, and he was saying that he'd never be able to do stand up. Like, he'd never be able to write things and then project them on the spot. He said, but if he's writing thought out skits, he can do them he can take as many cuts as he needs. He can do stuff like that. And I think it's interesting the way I'd be the opposite. The thought, well, like I'm decent at creative writing, but the thought of writing something like kind of like that, like a video, kind of definitely intimidates me more than the thought of getting up on stage and saying some short jokes for some reason. And I think it's interesting how similar to the way you and Darren work, he was doing the shorter things. You would like to make it longer. I think it's kind of like that. It's interesting how different minds work in that way, but it would be something I'd like to challenge myself with for sure. Like, do you know what I mean? Because
do it. Just takes a pen and a piece of paper.
That's it. I think if you have the ability to write short things, you have the ability to write long things, and vice versa. Do you know what I mean? I think that's it. All
long things are just loads of short things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna get that in my gravestone. Actually, that's motivational right there. Long things are just loads of short things put together. That's good. Man. No, but
life is just one day, just loads of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but what was I going to say? So have you got anything in the pipeline working on, or are you?
Do we have anything in the pipeline? Yes, yeah, a few things. Like I'm working. I've been working on the documentary that I
that's
wanted
how
you
we
to be in. Yeah,
that's how we started talking, actually. Yeah,
yeah.
So tell me a bit about that. What you were looking to do.
So the documentary, I done a little bit of stand-up comedy, and I didn't really like it. It kind of gave me, I don't want to say anxiety because that's an under-evaluation of anxiety, but
Yeah,
it did give me anxiety. Like when I was preparing for a stand-up gig, I hate doing the same joke twice.
yeah, same.
Or 3 times
Same.
or 4 times.
Yeah.
So every time I go and do a stand-up show, I try to analyze where I'm going, what the audience will be like, and will it be a big crowd, will it be a small crowd, and then like write 5 minutes at the start of me set
Yeah,
to kind of tailor to that and make it feel like it's off the cuff and just make it interesting for me.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
big time. Yeah,
So, but doing that was like preparing for all these gigs was just, when I was getting up, I was nervous.
mm-hmm.
And when I got off, I didn't have that, whoa, I want to get up and do it again feeling. I just
Yeah.
had the thank fuck that's over.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Wipe my hands at that. And then I was like, oh, I'll have to do that again next week somewhere else. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. And it just, I didn't enjoy it. So the documentary, the angle I wanted to come at it from was, I wanted to get everyone at different stages in comedy. So people that are very experienced
mm-hmm.
and well-seasoned comedians,
Yeah,
and people that weren't so well-seasoned right at the start, the infancy of their career. And I wanted to compare what their image was, which I think is interesting, even that you were saying that you wanted
Yeah.
to get into comedy.
yeah,
Like, so what your interpretation of what getting into stand-up comedy is versus somebody that's been doing it for 20 years, like what their interpretation back then was.
that's really interesting, actually. Yeah,
And
yeah.
kind of see where it meets and see if it does meet, because I don't think I don't get much satisfaction from doing stand-up. I love when people laugh
Mm-hmm.
at something that came out of my head.
Yeah,
I thought I'd knock that fucking phone off.
I thought that was my shoe, to be honest with you. I thought my shoe just made a demonic noise there.
Boom, boom, there we go. No alarms, no media, no phone calls.
No media. You sound like a guidance counsellor now.
What was I saying? What was I shite talking about?
You were talking about the documentary and how different angles, how people at the beginning of their career would look at it differently, or similarities between the people at the end of the course.
So, and then like other people, and then somewhere in the middle as well. So I found it very interesting that I was interviewing. I kind of followed Enya for a little bit, preparing for her. She like headlined Vicar Street and sold out 2 nights in a row, which is really that's
huge. Yeah,
that's huge. Like as a comedian, that's the fucking dream.
Yeah.
Like selling out Vicar Street, what else is better than that?
Big
Selling
time.
out the O2, like that's
yeah,
astronomical. Like to sell out the O2. But like Tommy Tiernan probably wouldn't even do that. Like that'd be a challenge for the best of comedians.
Exactly.
Like, that's why you get Louis C.K. and Ricky Gervais playing the O2. But as an Irish comedian, to play Vicar Street and sell out 2 nights in a row is very, very impressive. And
massive.
you'd have to be delighted with yourself. So where do you go from there? And that's why I thought it was interesting getting Enya's take on it. And now she's like a personal she's still doing the comedy, but she's a personal trainer. So she's like at the top of her game,
Mm-hmm.
but she's still creating a backup plan for herself. And it's like, what are you doing it for? What's the end game? What's the goal? Like what's the vision?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what I wanted the documentary to be about, was just like what someone's vision was versus someone who probably has what this person wants. Do you know what I'm saying?
And is it all that it's dressed up to be sort of thing as well?
Yeah.
I get you. Big time actually. That is really interesting. It make you think as well. Like, do you know what I mean? From a very amateur comedian's point of view, it would have you thinking like. And it's, I mean, as far as where I'd see myself, or where I'd like to see myself going, it's kind of, you have that kind of thing when you first start off, something that you do relatively okay in. You do have the kind of bright lights in your eyes sort of at the start, you know what I mean? You do have the kind of, and there's a lot, then there's the kind of the part of you that's like, to think realistic about it and stuff. But I suppose that would be a general kind of, that would be a goal as an Irish comedian to say, if I sold out Vicar Street, it'd be unbelievable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To think of that. And it is interesting. So have you done much on the documentary, or have you just
I feel
done
like the COVID's obviously put an end to all stand-up comedy. So it's slowed down since January. Like so I was working on that with Jonathan Lambert, who's another filmmaker. Who's great. But that's kind of put a stop to that. We at the end point was actually supposed to be Edinburgh this year, but you know,
the Fringe Festival, is it?
Yeah. So we were gonna follow some people and then end at that point.
Okay.
So we just have like footage of. So there's the big gigs like that, and then there's smaller gigs like free gigs and small pubs and Which I used to go on a date with me board to the International, which would be the fucking mecca for stand-up comedy. Like I'd love to do a gig in the and I'd see comedians up there and I'd be like, oh fuck, I'd bleeding love to go up there and do that. But then I found it very interesting then when I did start doing stand-up comedy and I got a gig.
But I'm not there fucking losing me train of thought there. We're just still talking about the.
I was talking about stand-up comedy. To go back to me, James.
That's going to be the intro.
I was talking about stand-up comedy. I found it interesting that I used to always go to the International and say, oh, I'd love to be up there. That's where I want to be. I want to be up there getting the laughs that they're getting. And it just looks... They almost look like... When you go to any show, like they look impressive when they stand on stage. Like I was like, oh, I want to fucking be up there, be the center of attention, and then go off and you'd feel great. But it's just so weird then when you actually an act and you're just like standing in the back, and then like you go on, you're just on a stage, no mic. It just feels, and then you do your bit, and then you get off, and then you're just like, that's it. Like it's no bright lights, or it's not like fucking showbiz. Like
exactly.
It's not can girls on stage and fucking...
I know what you mean. And actually I can relate to that in a big way as well, because I've only done 3 stand-up gigs. I've done the first one was the one in the Battle of the Axe, which I have on YouTube. That was my first stand-up gig, which went really well. And I thought I was gonna, because everywhere I was looking, which I said, this is actually part of me said, I said never look up tips for your first stand-up gig, because it's a lot like looking up physical symptoms on Google. It's like everything leads to you've cancer, you're gonna die. Same way with your first gig, it's like you're gonna fail, like no one's gonna laugh. And I had that in my head. I was just like, I'm gonna go up, I'm gonna say anything, everyone's gonna be like, who's this fucking idiot? But it ended up going really well. Now that negatively impacted me as well as positively impacted me, because it blew my ego up a little bit. And then the second stand-up gig was in the same venue. And every comedian I asked were like, no, stick to your set, don't change your set. Which, as you said, I wanted to change it. You know what I mean? But it was very short. It was short notice, the gig that I got, the second gig. So I said, right, I'll use the same set, I'll use the same material. But I went in with this kind of confidence. The nervousness wasn't there at all from my first gig, because I was just like, I had it in my head that I was gonna get the exact same reaction. And it was a lot smaller of a crowd as well, which actually made me more confident. I was like, oh, that's fine, not a lot of people, that's grand. Then more people came in and my confidence was gathering up, and they told me I was second to last on, and I was having a few points, and I ended up having 5 points before I went on. Now I wasn't gargled when I went on, but I went on, and I kind of me time in between me punchlines and stuff, it was all over the place. And then I ended up doing some fucking stupid improv about like I think I was pretending to cry or something. I don't know. I forget where I fucking plucked it out of, but it was cringy. Do you know what I mean? It was cringy stuff. It was kind of like, and I noticed this with a lot of Irish comedians. A lot of clips I see of Irish comedians, won't name names, like my guidance counsellor actually won't name names, but it's the when you can see someone saying, please laugh at me, there's nothing worse than that. Do you know what I mean? That real kind of
desperate,
the absolute desperation. And it's just like, they're saying things like they're leaving the big pauses waiting for laughs, and it actually breaks me heart to see stuff like that. But I was that guy that night. And then me third stand-up gig, I actually MC'd a night around in Darndale. It was a night for male mental health.
I think I remember you saying that to me actually on Facebook.
And that went really well, because I was again looking up tips for MCing. And I said, well, you should only be MCing when you have between like 50 and 100 kind of regular gigs under your belt, because MCing is you have to read the crowd and this and that and this and that. So I still had kind of first time nerves, because it was in a much more local area. A lot of people, there was only one person at me with me each of the gigs in town, and in that one there was I think about 10 or 12 people I knew at it, so it was a lot more daunting that way. So I had to kind of, but it was weird because the nerves made me perform better. I didn't have that ego then, do you know what I mean? I had the kind of, I'm shit again, do you know what I mean? So it was that the kind of, because when you look at a comedian, and who's a good example, it's kind of when you're like the kind of self-hating comedians are sometimes the funniest, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
the ones
like
who
self-deprecating.
yeah, that's the word I'm looking for, self-deprecating. That's because that's naturally what people laugh at. You know what I mean? You laugh at when someone falls. You laugh when someone like hits their head or something. Or, like, and it's kind of when people laugh. People find self-deprivation funny, especially self-recognizing.
Yeah,
that kind of self-recognition of it. And I think when I was in that mindset, I've done a lot better then on my third one. But I would like to definitely do a lot more with them because I've had quite a different experience each time. It's kind of the first time I felt like Channing Tatum getting off the stage the first time because it was the laughs I was getting and people were coming up and shaking my hand and I felt great. Then the second time I felt like a fucking loser, do you know what I mean? I felt like, and I could see the people forcing themselves to laugh in the audience, you know, that kind of, and you always hear at comedy gigs that kind of
yeah,
and I'm like, stop forcing a laugh out, do you know what I mean? And it's horrible as well. I hate it. And I seen that, and then the third time it was kind of more of a natural, relaxed feeling of, I done quite well there, do you know what I mean? And it was good. And it was actually, weirdly enough, it was the start of this year. It was when I was going through, it was around the time, about 2 weeks before I brought out the first podcast. So I would have been at me worst mental health wise during that time. And it was hard for me at that stage
So you started the podcast when you were in the doldrums of
health, in the gallows. Yeah, it was kind of that's why I started it, because I was like, I was sitting there and I had the computer and I was like, I have a little streaming mic because I was going to stream games, and because accents would be my niche. They've always kind of been niche, me kind of like specialty or whatever. In school and everything, I'd always impersonate teachers or I'd impersonate people, and so that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to start streaming in a way of like, say, New York mafia gangster plays a horror game, do you know what I mean? And just stick with that character for the whole lot and don't break it. And kind of like, if you're playing a jump scare game but it's just in a fucking Italian mafia accent, it's I kind of like, I thought it'd be funny. But then I couldn't get my head around how to start streaming, and I realised I bought this thing and it's an office computer. It's not the best for streaming, do you know what I mean? The CPU is very high on it. It's not very good for streaming. So I was like, I'll record a podcast, but I didn't want to record it. I started the podcast for a very different reason to the reason I started comedy. Like, I started the podcast because I was like, I hope another lad is going through this and sees this. Well, not that I hope if another lad is going through it. I'm just sitting there sinisterly fucking wishing depression on everyone, but with my fucking crystal ball. Don't know why I'm a mage all of a sudden, but yeah. So I was like, hopefully a lad sees this and he's like, holy fuck, that's it, that's on the same. And luckily I did have a few lads who I went to school with say to me like that, like, fucking hell, that
luckily
yeah but it's not, but
thankfully, thank Jesus, then
thank
God,
for the
depressed.
they're all suffering. No, but it was kind of, you knew he'd start, but it was sort of like it was weird that a lot of lads from school did text me and say, I'm going through something really, really similar, because that's the thing when you're going through that it is, again, comedy and mental illness ties in very, very closely to each other, I think, because a lot of comedians do suffer with depression. Yeah. Like, as me and Dylan were talking about Robbie Williams, but I doubt he's depressed, you know what I mean? But Robbie,
with all the drugs he's taking,
exactly, he's on cloud fucking 9. But so I think like a lot of comedians do suffer with it, but at the same time, it's sort of like, I described it in a past podcast as the tree of mental illness, and that's why I had the logo as a tree for a while. Because it's sort of like, as you said, comedy covers such a big spectrum. I think so does mental illness. I think some people do only have the depression where they're tired and they don't want to really do much and they're unmotivated, but that's still depression, do you know what I mean? And then some people have depression where they feel like they're on hallucinogenic. Sometimes they feel not in their head. They can make it disassociate, which was my biggest issue, the disassociation, because to me that felt like a brain injury. The kind of just the spaced outness, and as I said to me doctor, I said, I feel like I've constantly just drank 2 glasses of vodka. That's what I feel like. And he was just like, oh well, you're a young lad. I'm like, what? And he's like, you're healthy now, you've gotten all your tests, which I have. I even paid £400 for a private MRI scan to just prove to myself that I didn't have a brain injury.
Wow.
And he's just like, oh, you're a young lad now, you shouldn't be worrying about this. And I go, I shouldn't be. Why didn't I think of that? I just shouldn't be worrying. Grand, thanks, doc. Do you know what I mean? Give me more antidepressants while you're at it, mate. Do you know what I mean? Fucking dickheads. Then I said that to my therapist, and he was saying to me, yeah, doctors have about a half an hour of mental health training.
Yeah,
But I just think it's interesting that like that's what I wanted to cover. I wanted to, because when you look up symptoms of depression, you get this list of things that might not resonate with you whatsoever, and then you're like, because that's the premise I was going on. There's a lot of young lads taking their life, especially around the area in the past few years, and I was thinking as well, I bet you that like people who are going through depression or going through suicidal thoughts, 9 times out of 10 I'd say it's more so the confusion of what the fuck is happening rather than they're sure they're depressed and they're sure they want to die. Because that's the situation I was in. I was just like, there's no way I can ever feel normal again unless I kill myself. That was kind of the process to me. But
that, I mean, it's so hard to even relate to that because like how could Jesus, like how could you feel that bad? Like,
yeah, it is kind of, but then it's people, when you're going through it, you're looking at people and you're like, and you're looking at your past self and you're like, how did I feel that good? Do you know what I mean? It's like, how did I ever feel that normal? Do you know what I mean? And it's sort of like, you hate your past self as well. You hate the kind of like I couldn't look at videos or pictures of me from years ago because I was just like, I was fine then, and this is fucking scary. Do you know what I mean? The fact that I'll never be him again. But that's the thing, that's the trap of it. Your brain wants you to think that way. Your brain wants you to think, I'm never going to be that happy fella again. I'm never going to be the fella who can wake up without worrying about, because health anxiety is my main one. Health, like hypochondria. A lot of people say, oh, I'm a bleeding hypochondriac, but I actually am a hypochondriac. So it's like, that was my main one. So I get a chest pain, that would automatically make me think I'm having a heart attack, panic attack, and then I'd have a panic attack and then I'd freak out. Yeah. Whereas like my girlfriend, for example, we could be chilling and she'd just be like, my chest is a bit sore, and just not even nothing grand. The same as my family, they'd be like, I'm getting a chest pain, and they might not even talk about it. They'd be, or they're just rubbing. I'm like, are you getting a chest pain or anything? And they're like, yeah, but it's fine. Like, it's probably just gas or something. And it doesn't even register in their head. Yeah. Because what my therapist was actually telling me is this two reaction nerves in your head. There's one at the very top of your spine that links to your brain, and one at the very base of your spine. So one takes a little bit longer to react to the other. So for example, the example he gave me is, supposing you see a stack of clothes on your chair in the middle of the night, and you wake up and you see a person, and then you go, holy fuck, oh no, it's just clothes. Do you know what I mean? The way he described it to me was, say you're walking down the road and then you get a chest pain. The first reaction shoots straight up, the first reactor shoots straight up, and it's just like, that's a heart attack. But if you enter a state of panic, then the second one doesn't have time to react. So you're stuck in that first state of panic. So that's kind of how a lot of panic attacks kind of happen. And it's very hard for someone to understand a panic attack if they've never had one either.
I don't know if this is a panic attack, but usually when I'm like lying in bed asleep at night and I'm just like closing my eyes, my brain overthinks. Yeah. And it thinks about death. Yeah. I think I literally think that one day there's gonna be a day that I'm just gonna die
and not exist,
and instantly, and then I think, that's mad, and then I literally, it becomes more and more real in my head as it folds over on itself, and I literally have to just go, shake it off. Is that anxiety? Is that a panic attack?
That would be definitely kind of death related anxiety, which a lot of people have. I do have it as well. I think you're not normal if you don't have that death related anxiety.
Is that normal?
Well, I'd say, and the fact that you have to kind of shake it off as well, that could probably develop into a panic attack. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very, like if you kept letting it loop over, but at the same time as well, weirdly enough, the distraction, the kind of get out of my head thing, that kind of reinforces it as a dangerous thought as well. That's what I was looking into the best ways to deal with panic attacks and stuff, because everyone says, count 5 things around the room, and then 5 things you can hear and 5 things you can smell. That's all distraction methods, and that's distracting you from what's going on, which is panic, and that's reinforcing in your head that panic is dangerous and you don't want to talk, you don't want to listen to it, and blah blah blah. But the best way I found, and this is how I don't get panic attacks anymore. I had a mini one 2 days ago, but that was just because I was wrecked and I was a lot busier than I was normally. So it just kind of came on, but I understood it. But I think the best way to deal with panic is letting it flow through you, because then your brain doesn't relate it to danger anymore. Do you know what I mean? It just and then when your brain doesn't relate something to danger, then it doesn't panic, because your brain only panics when it believes you're in danger. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like same way when if a bus is going to hit you and then you jump out of the way of the bus and you're having a panic attack right there, but you don't realise your heart's going 90, everything's tight, the blood's taking out of your arms because it thinks it needs to protect your organs, all of that, you're dizzy, your mouth's dry, but all you're thinking about is, oh, the bus is gone, the bus isn't going to kill me anymore. You're not thinking about the physical sensations, and then after a while you'll be shaking and you'll calm down because the danger's gone. But if there's no immediate pointer of where is the danger, then your brain goes into triple fucking thing of looking for the danger, and there's danger somewhere, and then it's an endless loop then of craziness. But I definitely do get that a lot as well, especially in bed at night. A lot of people get it in bed at night. People that don't even suffer with anxiety get it in bed at night, and then you get very conscious of your breathing as well. Kind of like, am I even getting enough air, kind of thing, and then you take like massive breaths and stuff like that. But
even sometimes I could be watching a film and an extra, like an action film, and an extra in the film just gets shot dead and just dies instantly, like he's an irrelevant character of the film. And I was thinking, that cunt's supposed to be dead now, like he's just dead. And then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna be in a coffin. Oh my god, this body, like me, literally. And like,
I know.
stop. Even talking about it now fucking gives me anxiety. Like it's rotten, man.
That's the thing, and it's very hard, because it's like, if you have anxiety about social situations, or if you have anxiety about this or anxiety about that, you can learn to accept it, but it's very hard to learn to accept it. Like, it's very fucking hard. You know what I mean? And it's like, there's
nothing anyone can say to comfort me, like, but sure, everyone dies. And I'm like, no, that's even weirder. That's fucking horrible as well. Like,
everyone I love is gonna go. No, man, I
kind of want like, this is not a nice thing to say, but I want a few people to die before me. Just so I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one, or something. Like, it is normal, like it isn't. But I don't know. Maybe it's a childhood traumatic thing or something. Seeing I hate dead bodies at funerals. Like, they freak me the fuck out. And there was an episode. Do you ever see Tommy Tiernan's chat show? And he doesn't know the guest that comes on. There was a woman that came on, and she's an embalmer, and she was explaining the process of embalming dead bodies, and I was like, Jesus, someone's gonna be doing that to me. Like, I'm gonna be cold. I'm gonna be in a fridge, and I just hate it all. And I just get into a serious. I'd rather, it's like ignorance is bliss. I wish no one ever told me about death, and then when it just takes me and happens. Like, if I didn't know about death, I wouldn't want people to die before me. And then I'd like for it to just like a dog. I feel like a dog doesn't understand death.
No, so exactly. I always say that I wish I was a dog. Like, in the way of not wish that I was a dog, but wish that you were like a dog. Just kind of like has a very, very kind of singular consciousness of just food, walk, water, sleep, and then they die and they don't even realize they've died. But I know, which I hate saying this sentence, I know we're not going to realize we've died when we've died, because it's just scary as shit. But I think it's like, we've gotten into a real deep conversation.
I know, people probably say, oh, the Windup merging, this will be funny.
And I'm sitting there like, that fuck's sake,
we're all gonna die.
But definitely don't listen to this after a joint. But so I think it's like, and as well, I kind of envy like Vikings back in the day, for example, right? So Vikings back in the day, not because they were shroomed out of it all the time and they were fucking having orgies in the forest, but because they were because it was kind of like they longed for death. That was a level up for them. Do you know what I mean? They, like, even though they weren't going to Valhalla, they weren't going to battle with the gods.
But you don't even think about Vikings. Think about like the old woman that has 100% faith in God. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
I consider myself Catholic, but I really struggle with death. Like, I shouldn't be afraid. If I truly 100% believe that, if you believed you're gonna die tomorrow, but sure, it's grand, you'll go to heaven, you'd have no fear of death. You'd be like, Lord, take me now.
Exactly.
I wish I had the comfort of knowing that I was gonna go to a different place, or
big time,
that there's something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just
it's
logical side of your brain that's just saying,
no,
like, you know what I mean? Well, in a tiny little bit of dust in a vast space, like, and your life is absolutely insignificant. There's billions of people on the earth. There's animals, like, I don't know, like, it's weird. Do
you know what it reminds me of as well? And I hate comparing it to this because it's so fucking accurate. Is it reminds me of when I was in college, right? And the lads were talking about the exams next May. you should start studying for the exams next May, and I'd forget about them. I'd be like, doesn't matter. Then May comes along and I have to do the exam, and I know I'm going to fail it. It kind of reminds me of that. It's kind of like pushing it off for so long doesn't make it not real. Do you know what I mean? And that scares the shit out of me. I was only thinking about it last night and this morning. It's just like, I was like, the whole kind of one of these days is going to be my last day thought. Do you know what I mean? That fucking scares the shit out of me. And it's like I've had my first existential crisis was existential crisis was when I was about 7. I think I was, because I used to live in America, and I was about 7. And I remember there was a lad in my school called Brian, actually plays for Dublin now, and I remember thinking that I think I was leaving school. I had just moved back from Ireland, and I was leaving school. And I think I said bye to one of them, or him or whatever. And I remember looking at my hands and thinking, I'm like him. I have hands. I am a person. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I have human hands. I'm a person. I am a me. Do you know what I mean? I'm just another person. And that was the kind of, and I kind of liked having them a few years ago. But then they started turning sinister when it was like, well, if you're a person, you're just as mortal as everyone else, and you're just you're just. But
like when people die at a young age, I feel like, oh God, that's like when you hear these stories of someone having a heart attack and they're like 27 or something like that. You're like, oh fuck me, like that's like I'm like.
What makes me so special that won't happen to me? Yeah.
How am I not invincible?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I feel like no. It's like the procrastination. Like you're procrastinating the day that you're gonna die. Yeah. But then one day, it's gonna be that day. You know
and no one can predict it. Yeah. And I think the thing is as well. Well, first of all, just for anyone listening worried about heart attacks, there's a 14% death rate with heart attacks, because that was one of my biggest triggers. So I looked into it. So only 14%.
That's pretty low, yeah.
Only 14% of people. But the COVID is 0.2, so you don't have to wear the mask, alright. But where's your pandemic now with heart attacks? You hear that, Leo? No, well, fuck off. But no. But yeah, very low chance. And the thing is, it's like I think it's the only thing in life. Ironically, the only thing in life, because it's the end of life, is where it's actually good to procrastinate it. It's actually good to ignore it. But at the same time, you can probably find a lot of peace in learning to accept it as well. Do you know what I mean? Because and I know, like, and as a lot of people have said to me, you're not going to know when you're dead, so you're not going to be experiencing the thing.
But you're gonna know when
it's coming.
Die.
So
like my dad, I told you earlier that my dad had a stroke.
Yes.
But before he had a stroke, he had an epileptic fit, which was caused by the onset of the stroke.
Yeah.
So like a few weeks before the big stroke, he had like an epileptic fit. But he, like after the fit, he was conscious and was able to tell us how he felt.
Yeah.
And he said that he was afraid that he was dying. He thought that he was dying when it happened. And I just find that so. In Canada, they just legalized, if you have a terminal illness, then you can take magic mushrooms to just be out of your head when death comes. And I feel like I don't want to be conscious of me death.
So you'd rather, come, like, as Ricky Gervais says, you'd rather die in your sleep. Like
yeah.
But I'm the same, but at the same time, I'm scared as fuck of dying in my sleep too. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like I'm going to sleep and I'm like, what if I just don't wake up? That scares the shit out of me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What if you're just having a dream and then it just stops? But yeah, no, it's kind of, man, I've thought about it for hours on end, and night after night I've thought about that, just because that's where my anxiety started. Because I was like, I used to kind of just think about it in a kind of fun way, sort of like, oh, we're all human and this is blah blah blah. And then when the anxiety started kicking in and stuff like that, then it became a lot more real. Then, do you know what I mean? It became a lot, well, we are. And I think as well, one good way to look at it as well, your brain wants you to, thought we weren't recording, I was about to flip the house, but your brain wants you to think, and wants you to think logically of, right, come on, there's no golden gates. You're gonna just not exist. Or one point that a lot of atheists make is, well, why can't you remember before you were born? But what I believe is, like, we're that irrelevant, right, that there's no way we can't be relevant, if that makes sense. I'm saying we're that random that there's no way this is all a coincidence, that we just appeared in the floating fucking ball in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, so we're getting philosophical here now, are we?
Yeah, but do you know what I mean though? It's like, it's kind of like, I don't believe that everyone's here for a reason, everyone's here for a job, you meet everyone for a reason, everything. I do believe in the randomness of chaos, and everything is just completely random and everything's just happening in the world. And yeah, right, you do probably meet some people for a reason, but I think is like, there's no way we can be this fucking complex of a species and for us to just delete ourselves from reality when it stops. Do you know what I mean? And it's like,
see, I think it's interesting. I was only talking about this the other day with someone from work, but I think there's fate. I believe in fate. I know you're talking about everything happens for a reason, but I just think everything happens and there's a parameter that you can maneuver around in. You can make a decision to go here that day and do this that day, but there's only you'll only have an opportunity to, like Bill Gates. Bill Gates will say that he was fortunate to be born into this family, and to have all of this money. And then he met a person in school. Like, if you follow a story, there's a documentary on Netflix about it. But like, all of these things that happened to him, they couldn't have happened to anybody else. So only Bill Gates could be Bill Gates. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's completely. Not like if it wasn't him, then it'd be somebody else. I think everybody has a path, and they can think that they're in control. This is just what I think now. They can think that they're in control, but ultimately, like, you could say, right, I'm focusing on this, I'm doing this, and then somebody could die on you, and then you're just like, oh, like, I was doing stand-up comedy, and I was in a routine. I was focused. I wanted to go to Edinburgh. I wanted to go to the Vodafone Comedy Festival, and I was focused on it, and I was doing it all. And then me young fella was born, and he was like brain damaged, and there was it was a disastrous birth. He's grand now, thankfully.
Oh, thank God,
touch wood. But that is something that's completely out of your control. Like, the stuff that you have no control over, that completely steers your life this way. Even having a kid.
I think as well, when it comes to thinking about the fucking doom, I think is
the end of days.
The end of days, the deletion. I think as well, it does tie into sort of like a lot of things. Like, laughter is sort of the best medicine, and it's sort of a form of distraction as well. But I think look, as you said at the start of the discussion, there's nothing that you can say to make you feel better about it. So just, in my opinion, I just won't fucking think about it. I'll try my best not to fucking think about it. You know what I mean? And it's sort of like, and it's an interesting one. I think as well, Teresa Cahill is her name. She's a comedian that I had on when I was doing the MC, like, she's in a wheelchair. She's a chronic pain sufferer. She has some of her songs are fucking hilarious.
I was on Ireland's Got Talent, and she was in the room with me.
Were you?
Well, I didn't get through.
Right. Fucking, you were still
got 4 X's.
Yeah, right. Were you singing or doing stand-up?
I was singing, when I do stand-up, I have a guitar, so I was singing. I got 4 X's, and I was like, fuck you, Jason Bourne.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Who was he to fucking give someone an X? Do you know what I mean?
But I actually fancied my chances. Oh my God, I was last on as well. Oh, it was the longest day of my life waiting to go on. But she was in the waiting room, like, she was in the back. She was backstage waiting to go on as well. Don't know if she got through.
Well, I don't know, because her favourite song that I've heard is called "Shitting Out My Vagina." So and it's about her having a baby and her fanny ripping, and it's disgusting, but it's fucking hilarious. You know what I mean? It's sort of like that Louis C.K. type comedy where you're actually disgusted, but you're fucking, like, it's that disgusting and it's hilarious. And like, and it's a fucking, unfortunately, it's a catchy song as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, it'd be stuck in your head, like, I've been shitting out my vagina all day long, like, and it's like, it's stuck in your head. So I can't imagine her singing that on
I don't think it was that.
On Ireland's Got Talent. But I remember she was saying something as well, and I think it was pain plus time equals comedy. And it's like, if you fall and you won't find it funny when you fall and you're hurt and you're in pain, but over time you'll be looking back and be like, remember at the time I fell and I nearly broke my leg, and it gets funny. And I think that really does resonate a lot with myself. And I think a lot of things in life, I think things that bring you pain, you can often joke about them in a way of like to help with it as well. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of, things do change in your head over time. And weirdly enough as well, just this the last thing I'll say.
Did you ever get battered by a ma, but you're laughing because she can't hit you?
Can't
hold you. When you were a kid, like, you know?
Literally,
and then she'd hit you harder because you laugh. Stop fucking laughing. Flat you.
Literally. But I think as well, the last thing I'll say in the whole death department is what was I gonna say? What did I lose my train of thought there?
Sorry, I ruined your flow. Didn't
No,
I?
no, you didn't. It's grand. But yeah, that was a good point though as well about the man hitting you. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You rarely hear, because right, if you're in your 80s or 90s, right, and like a lot, I've heard a lot of like people like interviewing people in their 80s or 90s are talking about, like, I've seen a lot of people on like on their deathbed or whatever in videos or whatever, like just things like that, and you'd be at a stage where you're like, well, I don't give a fuck how I affect people, in other words. So you're gonna be honest. And a lot of people, they don't, like, there's a lad up the road and he's been given 3 months to live, and he has cancer. Jesus. And he's an old man now, and he's still like, and you're just like, it's grand. But he's lovely, and I only met him. He's my dad's friend, and I only met him for the first time the other day, and he shook my hand and he said this beautiful, crazy poem to me just off the top of his head about, like, you'll see him who he wasn't, just a weird fucking poem, but it was class, and about the cold floor or something. I forget it, but happiest person you'd ever meet. And I think it's like, it's rare that you find someone of old age who isn't ready for it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I think it's like, as you said, I think it gets worse and worse and worse as you get older, as you said, the thought of death. But then I think at one point in our life, there must be a turnaround point where, like, do you know what? Yeah, I'm happy with me stay. Do you know what I mean? And
well, I hope it's because what I said earlier, that loads of people will have died before you. Like, your parents will die, and that'll hurt you, but that'll teach you as well. Like, you know, people say that you should get your child a pet. Yeah. When they're young, so it teaches them about mortality and about death. Okay. I don't know, that might traumatize them. I don't know, like, I'm not advising people to do that. And then kill the dog in front of them.
Then you'll know.
But like, cousins will die, siblings maybe, like friends, just people that are older than you that will die just by the natural course of time. Yeah. Maybe then by the time you're 80, you'll be like, actually, fucking, this happens, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. Even saying that, like, gives me anxiety.
Same. It does. It terrifies me to even talk about. That's the thing. And it's like, but you fucking brought it up. No, and it's like,
fucked I out my mouth. Ask me about the Windup merchants.
Yeah, come on, fucking hell. We all traumatized. But yeah, but fucking imagine he brought out a skit just like, and it was just this long thing, and everyone's waiting for the punchline, and then it's just like at the end, it's like, oh, I just realised something. This doesn't matter. We're all gonna die anyways. It just ends. But I think, I mean, oh shit. I think on a positive note, not a positive note, I think the acceptance does come eventually, and it's like, and another thing that me and my mate were talking about actually, right? I don't know if you have you ever blacked out or passed out before?
Oh, no, I wish I did. Yeah. I've gone under surgery, so a few times. So I've gotten gassed. Yeah. Someone at work even said to me, like, he just thinks that death is going to be like that. Like, you're just going to go out and then just be unconscious forever. Yeah. But I don't think that's what's like that. I don't think that's what death will be.
Did
like.
You find when you were put under that it was like time traveling? Where you closed your eyes and then you opened your eyes, and that you didn't experience that time in between.
I had a little bit of a dream towards when I woke up. Yeah. But it'd be there, like, that's because of the drugs and everything. Yeah. But I'd say being put unconscious is just like coming back then. That's
what someone described what they think death is like. They think that it's like that space in between that doesn't exist. Yeah. So to put it, this actually really made me feel a lot more comfortable. Me and my mate talked about it. They are in the works of making. There's actually a subreddit that it's for people who are fearing death and stuff like that. And it's weird that we can actually combat the thought of the fear of death with the technologies we have. And in that way, it's like they are already working. They're in the pipeline of working on transporting consciousness and uploading consciousness. So basically, if you say basically by the time we're older, it will definitely be a possibility because they're already working on it. And if you put your name down or whatever, supposing you die, and then 20 years later they make that discovery, they grant, all right, we haven't preserved, we have the consciousness or whatever like that. Then supposing they just preserve the brain or something, and then your consciousness is uploaded somewhere to something. It will be like you just fell asleep and woke up 20 years later. Do you know what I mean? Because if death truly is that thing where time, space, matter doesn't exist, then that 20 years will be irrelevant, and you'll just die, and then you'll wake up in the uploaded consciousness. And it's like, if that happens to be a possibility eventually, then I'll have the best life ever. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, that's the only thing that worries me is death. And if it's a possibility that it can't happen, then it's fucking, imagine how happy everyone would be. Do you know what I mean? I think.
Yeah, well, some people say that they wouldn't like to live forever, but I fucking would.
So would I, yeah. And people are like, oh, but you have to lose all your loved ones. I get more. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get new loved ones. Fuck that.
Well, you wouldn't. You'd see a great grandchildren. Like, you just have a big massive family.
Yeah.
The earth to be overpopulated though.
Yeah.
We'd be robots.
Yeah.
So maybe it just all be digital.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? If we're not already in a simulation. No, we're getting too heavy now. Back to comedy. Do you know any good jokes? Any good knock jokes?
I'm actually shy at jokes, man. I'm really shy. My style of comedy is more just situational and awkward and
I like that. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And dry as well. Like,
yeah.
Curb Your Enthusiasm is not knock jokes. It's not like clear punchline.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a. Although I'm saying that I really like Arrested Development.
Yeah.
That's like lead up punchline constantly throughout an entire episode, and there's throwbacks. Yeah, that's a masterpiece. Did you ever watch Arrested Development?
I've watched a couple of episodes here and there, but I haven't watched it. Like, my sister told me to. Oh no, I'm thinking of a different show. I'm thinking of Parks and Recreation. I've watched Arrested Development though. I've watched 1 or 2 episodes. It's fucking hilarious. Like,
man,
you can't be for classic comedy. I don't think you can beat the UK Office. I think that's a fucking classic. Do you know what I mean?
It's great.
I think Ricky Gervais is a genius. I think he's a negative cunt at times because he loves to bring up the death thing. Yeah. But then again, we're at bringing it up. But I think I love him especially. I started going off him a little bit. Because everything was just like I'm so smart because I'm an atheist. Everything that seemed to come out of his mouth at the time was, well, I don't have to follow that. I mean, it was just like it was just everything to do with that. Like, but then once he made that speech at the Golden Globes, I've fell in love with him again because it's like, that took balls. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, it was hilarious as well. Do you know what I mean? It was fucking hilarious. And he's saying that at the end of Afterlife, he's like, he doesn't kill himself. He's like a lot like Jeffrey Epstein, but it's just fucking fantastic. Like, but he's great. It's great that there is different kinds of comedy as well. Like in a way of like, there is the kind of the awkward, and it's weird as well. I talked about this with my mate as well. The kind of like, sometimes your delivery, 99% of the time your delivery is funnier than your material. Do you know what I mean? Like how you say it, and how sometimes it's your personality people find funny rather than your actual material itself. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's like, there's a few comedians that's like Kevin Hart. I'm not a fan, to be honest, but a lot of people find him funny because he's the little loud black man, you know what I mean, jumping around, like, do you know what I mean? Kevin Hart doing funny voices, like, and his material isn't really that funny, like, do you know what I mean? It's just like, my daughter came in to me and she said, "Dad, we gotta go," and then I say, "I wasn't ready," and then everyone breaks up all like laughing. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of, I think it's
I find that like that's a very American style of comedy, and I'm not really mad into it. There's very few American comedians that I like, and if I do like them, they wouldn't be the most popular of comedians. Like, you know, I
love Louis C.K. I do love
Louis C.K. is good. Yeah, he's a good mainstream.
He is mainstream.
A good example of a mainstream comedian. But he was nobody for about 20 years. Yeah. Like, and then he started making it. Like,
some of the proper mainstream ones I'm not mad about at all. Like Kevin Hart, for example. I don't like Pete Davidson. I really don't. I used to think some of his older stuff was okay when he was young, but I don't. As me mate described it as well, he's kind of like, he's sort of like the pop star of comedy. He's like, you can't be. He's trying to be too cool and trying to be too like hip and like.
Did you see The King of Staten Island?
I didn't. I heard it's very good though. I heard it is very good.
I found it kind of self-indulgent and it just sort of meandered along a little bit. That's. I feel like who is he to be making a film like this about himself? I feel like you need another 20 years on you or something, like, before you know. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I haven't watched it now. I did hear good things, but he is like that though. He is quite fucking like, he is self-indulgent. You know what I mean? He is quite like that, and then fucking getting with Ariana Grande probably blew his ego up. You know what I mean? Like, well, if you're on Saturday Night Live, your ego is going to be through the roof. He was on that, wasn't he? I think so. That's how he made his big break, and then I think he was. He's doing. I remember. Hold on. Yeah. Where are we? I was just checking the delay. Where he was doing comedy since he was. I seen a stand-up gig of him when he was 19, and he was kind of just
kind of insulting himself, and it was hilarious. Where he's kind of like, he sort of said like, I don't even know what race I am, and he's just like, because like I can see my lips from here, like, and he's just he was just kind of like stuff like that.
Yeah,
was really good. And but then this kind of this
there is some stuff like that in Staten Island, like where the entire thing is self-deprecating.
yeah,
like.
yeah, yeah.
But the story, I just feel like doesn't, like, it's just for no reason. That's just what I kind of got out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Judd Apatow film as well.
Yeah.
So I just feel like he was doing him a favour.
Yeah.
Judd Apatow, like, mate, like, I don't know. Oh, you obviously don't know. That's just the vibe that I kind of got off it.
Yeah, there's a few.
Let's talk about other shit American comedians.
Yeah, well, we're at it. Yeah, actually, that's it. Any other in the? Oh, who's your one? Amy Schumer, obviously. She's renowned, hated. Like, do you know what I mean? It's normal to hate her. So, but I don't know.
Blatantly stealing, like, bits.
Yeah,
word for word, verbatim. Like,
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I know, it's mental, and I think a lot of, I don't want all the SJWs to come at me, because as I've said, I love Teresa. Her work is hilarious, but I think a lot of American female comedians are quite similar in their material, and it's not funny. A lot of them do kind of just come on, make a joke about sex, and then make a joke about, and it's just kind of like, they're looking for the, oh my god, a girl is talking about sex kind of appeal thing. Do you know what I mean? It's
but
like,
you'll get the argument that, oh, men do that as well, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know they do as well. They do, and the ones who do, that's why I hate comedians who are very, very, very similar to other comedians. I'm just like, I think, well, hate is a strong word. I think everyone should have their own kind of niche or their own kind of angle. Do you know what I mean? And their own difference. That's why I think a lot of Irish comedians are very, very similar to each other. Do you know what I mean? The kind of, and I was getting the bus, you know, and it was delayed as usual, and then, you know, and then my girlfriend wanted to have sex all of a sudden, and I was like, sure, you fucking change more than the Irish weather, you know. And and I'm like, that stuff is just like, and here's a joke now for the mammies and daddies, like the whole panto thing, like, and it's just Irish comedy. Some of it does make me like cringe in a sense, you know what I mean? It's sort, as I've said, but it's like, I think having, that's why and another point I made to me mate as well, I think if you need to go to an improv class, or if you need to go to a stand-up class, then don't do stand-up. I personally, do you know what I mean?
I agree with that as well to an extent. Like, I feel like it's the same with acting as well. I feel like you can't teach art.
Exactly.
But then on the other hand, you can refine it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
So I don't like the idea of going to classes, or like,
you can't learn a talent, I don't think. You can.
It's an art. You can't learn an art sort of thing. Like,
and it's like, it's sort of like if I was going on stage and I had me side to the crowd, and I had someone to stage direct me. Stage direction is just a part of it, which is fine. But if you're going to an improv class and they're like, oh, when you hear this word, think of this word, and I'm like, no, your word association should be on point already. It shouldn't. You should be naturally kind of like that. And I think it's kind of like the comedians who went to acting school, the comedians who went to stuff like that, they have a different kind of stand-up style to people who haven't, and people who are just kind of raw funny. Do you know what I mean? And there was one lad, and he had me in fucking tears. His name is Sean. He's from Beijing, and he was on. I think he's only done one set before. It was my second set. The time that I flopped, and it was his first, and his fucking. It was just, he wasn't like, English was obviously a second language, but honest to God, I was in fucking tears on him. Because he was just so, what did he say? He was saying, he had this big long bit about his dad and eating dogs because he was Chinese, and he's like, my dad said, you don't eat the dog, you never eat the dog. And I say, okay, and then he's just like, you fuck the dog. But it just came out of nowhere, the way he said it, like, and about him fucking a dog, it was just so, and like, you're like, where the fuck did this come from? But it was just so raw, and you can tell that he wrote it and was like, oh, I'll just try that out. There wasn't like the overly fucking laugh at me. Do you know what I mean? Look how talented I am. Do you know what I mean? I have such showmanship. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing. Comedy isn't showmanship. Comedy isn't, as you said, it's not the cabaret dances. It's not like that. I don't think that's what being funny is. I don't think I think it's the self-deprecating. I don't think it's the, like, right, there's two types of comedians in my head. There's the comedians who'll make it in comedy, and there's the comedians who'll make it on the Late Late Show as a host. Do you know what I mean? The comedians the mammies love. Do you know what I mean? And people who come out and there's a few comedians who would make it as the next Ryan Tuberty. Do you know what I mean? But then there's like for yourself, Darren Conway, the likes of that, the lads in the Windup merchants, you are naturally funny. You just have that natural kind of thing. Like, there's parts of the recent video that I think like certain people would find, like the way he says about the tea, about the nice one. Like certain people would only find that funny, but I think they're the people with the best kind of sense of humour. You know what I mean? It's kind of like sly things like that is funnier than kind of a big build up to a mad punchline. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, comedy is
subjective, of course. Yeah.
So each person will find something different funny, and I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that hate my videos and think they're shit. Like, you know, but there's a lot of people that like them. But I think with going to comedy classes and going to writing classes and going to art classes, it's good exercise. And I've never done it, but it's good exercise. And even doing sketches and being like when I for a few months there, I was making comedy sketches for Boyle Sports. Yeah. Before that, and that was on a weekly basis. But before that, I just make a sketch when it kind of comes to me. But it's good saying we have to make a sketch on Friday. Yeah. So think of something now. Like, think of something. Yeah. Don't wait for it to come to you. You have to go search that. That was a good exercise for me. And I think it'd be the same as stand-up comedy. Like, if you don't have, I'd say now with this coronavirus, there hasn't been a comedy gig in 6 months. So I'd say people are rusty. Yeah. For the likes of that, it'd be good to exercise and do like a writing, like improv. Like, it's not improv training, but it's just improv practice. Yeah, exactly. Like where you'd bounce off each other. 100%.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
I've never done it, but I can see the merit in it. Yeah. I feel like I'd be good at improv, but I've never tried it, or I've never done it. I mean, I've done it at gigs. Yeah. But no, I've never done it. Never tried improv. It can be so shit. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
It really
like,
can. It can go really wrong.
But or just not go anywhere. You know.
I know. Yeah, no, 100%. I think as well. I would like to do. I would like to do an improv class. Just not improv class, improv practice. Because it would be good to, especially pre-writing. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're thinking about writing a sketch, or thinking about writing jokes. Yeah. Doing some improv, even with just like 2 people or 3 people, doing some improv and like trying to say a word and then make a joke about it or something. That can definitely it's the same with story writing as well. It can spark off, it triggers definitely create a creative kind of, as Blind Boy says, your creative flow, like when in your head. And it's like it does kind of do that. And it's sort of like people don't realize that like they'd be in bed doing a lot of improv with themselves, you know what I mean? Like that, like with if you ever get into an anxious thought loop, do you know what I mean? You're linking one thing to the other, and then it's just going on and on and on. So same thing can happen when you're linking funny stuff together. Do you know what I mean? I think there definitely is room for Irish comedy, though. Do you know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of big Irish comedians. You know what I mean?
As in what, stand-up comedy?
A lot of different types. You know what I mean? I think like if you look in America, look how many content creators there are in America of doing, like, and I know obviously the population's a lot bigger. Even in England, like them YouTubers, what are they called? I know they just do challenges and all now, but them like TGF Bro or whatever they're called, they do, like, I think they were doing skits at one point, and like your man, for example, like the only people I know doing like skits at the moment and videos and sketches is the Windup merchants and yourself and Ryan Marr, the guy I was telling you about from he does funny ones on Instagram. And I think there's definitely room for people to definitely excel in it, you know what I mean? Because like,
I think you can't move for them.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I mean, excel in them is like it goes back to the long form versus short form stuff. You know, like there's a lot of people just on Instagram doing funny Instagram stories.
Yeah.
There's people on TikTok doing silly dances and I don't even know if you'd call that comedy. No, like I don't. What even is that? I don't like. Yeah. I think people's tastes are changing because of the new era that we're in.
Yeah,
as in TikTok, like, you know.
Yeah,
what I mean?
It's not recording, is it?
Yes,
it is. It is. Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, grand. But I think that TikTok era is a big one as well. Yeah. It's kind of, it is sort of, I don't know, I wouldn't say ruining comedy, but it is ruining.
It's ruining people's tastes in comedy. I think.
Yeah, big
like
time.
The people that are growing up now are growing up with TikTok. Yeah, they're not like, I grew up with fucking Harry Enfield.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I grew up during a sketch era boom. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
There was lots of on RTA. There was always comedy.
Naked Camera and stuff was big as well. You know what I mean? Stuff like that is kind of gone. And as we were talking about the Savage Eye and stuff like that, that had great comedy in it. You know what I mean? And it's kind of, I think it kind of results back to sometimes as well with the lack of it. It's kind of like fear of offense as well is a big thing with comedy. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
A lot of people are scared of offending this a certain group of people, and it's kind of like, look, I think everything, again, I know, as we said, comedy is subjective, but I think anything can be joked about in the right context. And if it's a good joke, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're making a joke just to be an offensive prick, then it's not funny. Do you know what I mean?
But that's the last video that you were mentioning that we made that we liked
yeah,
is actually Dave McDermott's idea.
yeah,
But originally it was just kind of like they were chatting at the door, and then like it's a reveal that he's wearing a woman's dress, and I was like, is that just funny because it's a man wearing a dress? Like, will that be seen as transphobic or homophobic?
Yeah, it's
or
crazy.
Like,
See, I didn't even think of that when watching it, but
Yeah,
some
yeah,
people
yeah.
would probably. Do you know what I mean?
but that's because we had to make him more aggressive, and
Yeah.
basically that's just what he was doing today. He's just a weirdo. That fella's just a weirdo. It's not just a man wearing a dress.
Exactly.
Like, that's just an odd part of his personality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But we had to make sure to get that across instead of it just being a man wearing woman's clothes. Like,
Kind of pisses me off that you had to get it across, though. Do you
I
know what I mean?
know, and and it pissed Dave off as well. He's like, come on, lads, and I'm like, yeah, no, we get that, like, because it is funny. Like, it would be just, it's just funny in itself. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I think men dressing up as women is funny.
Yeah.
The three of us used to dress up as women. Like, David has a character called Ammo, and then like he has two girl mates.
Yeah.
And it was just the three of us, and we were dressed up as women. We'd pretend to be UFC ring girls in one
Yeah.
sketch. Like, but I feel like if we do that now, are we just making jokes about men? Is this just funny because it's men dressed up as women?
Yeah,
Like,
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's not. It's
or
not.
is it relevant to the joke? Like, if that was just three women, would it be funny? No. It's
Yeah.
because it's men dressed as women.
Yeah. I know what you mean. And I think it's more so because it's such a contrasting character to yourselves. Do you know what I mean? To your personality as well. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like you're like, even if you were dressed up as three, just with difference, if you're dressed up as three MMA fighters or wannabe MMA fighters, Deco and his two mates instead of Ammo and our two mates, I think it would still be just as quite as successful. Do you know what I mean? Because you're still writing intelligent stuff, but I think it obviously is more funny when because it's anyone in a, like, from a young age, if we see someone funny in a big outfit, a big like stupid looking outfit, it makes us laugh. Do you know what I mean? Like, look at, now I'm not comparing the trans community to clowns here, but if you look at clowns,
Oh yeah, James, yeah.
if you look at clowns, like, clowns wear these like mad colours and stuff, and you laugh at that. But so if you see a bloke wearing a dress or wearing something like that, and it's meant, see, right, if I see a bloke wearing a dress and she's a trans woman,
she's a he, she.
she was make me on fucking language now, and she's a trans woman, right? Will I find that funny? No, I won't find it funny. I'm accepting of that, right? But if I see someone wearing a dress to be funny, for example, drag queens, they wear dresses to be fabulous, to be flamboyant and stuff like that, I will find that funny because it's meant to be found funny. I think, again, it goes back to the subjective thing.
Yeah.
If you made a video of Ammo, and Ammo was like, listen, lads, I know you've known me for this long, but I'm coming out as trans, and you were like, ha, that's gas, then obviously that's going to be a transphobic video. But if you have someone, I get what you mean, though. Is it funny because it's men dressed up as women? In a sense, yes, but not in an offensive way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not funny because it's against trans.
Well, the offense is not ours to be given. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You'd have to talk. You'd have to say that. You'd have to get to the opinion of a trans person. I made a sketch going around town saying, are you looking forward to Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
And then people, just interviewing people on the street saying, you're looking forward to Christmas, and then say, yeah, what do you do on Christmas? Oh, we have dinner or whatever. And then it's like, that's gay.
Yeah.
Like, I was using gay in the term that it was originally designed to be, like, you know what I mean? But obviously it would catch them off guard, and that's where the comedy was lying, in their reaction. It wasn't me trying to be offensive, calling them gay. Like,
exactly.
But it was a little bit touch and go, so I had to ask, like, a couple of gay people, a couple of gay friends, like, is this offensive? Like, I don't know, as a not gay person, I don't know if this is not offensive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it in an offensive way. I'm not intending it to be offensive.
Yeah.
But it could be perceived as being offensive. Luckily, it wasn't. So I was happy enough to put it up.
Yeah. No, that's good.
But, like, you never know who you're going to offend. Everything is just such a sensitive issue.
Yeah. This cancel culture is crazy. Like. Yeah.
Like, well, I have a sketch idea that I want to make where it's a girl choking on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's going to be David dressed as a woman.
Yeah, of course.
It's going to be Ammo.
Yeah, it's going to be Ammo.
She's choking on the ground, and I want to give her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, like
Yeah.
to help her, to touch her, and then my mate Daryl is like, no, you can't, you're not allowed to
Yeah.
touch her, you're not allowed, don't even look at her, like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'll just give her chest compressions. I'm like, no, you can't touch her chest.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much that you can't do,
Yeah.
and now you can't do CPR either without the mask on and
Yeah.
everything. And
Yeah.
it's just gonna be,
Yeah.
it's just gonna be fucking chaos. And then eventually, I won't spoil the punchline.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
that's gonna be, and I'm thinking, fuck, is this too edgy? Is this? I don't know.
It's crazy when you have to think now, is that too edgy? When you had the likes of South Park when we were growing up making jokes that
know.
were fucking way out
Well,
there. Do you know what I
It
mean?
goes back to the right place, right time. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
If they made that now, they'd be shut down straight away.
Big
They'd be
time.
banned off
Yeah,
YouTube
yeah.
for the shit that they were making and putting out on the telly back
Yeah,
then.
yeah,
They'd
exactly.
be banned off YouTube.
Yeah,
like,
but I'm glad they did, because now we all have great sense of humour from it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
From the things
well,
like that.
we can't use it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, true. Yeah. Fucking,
know?
yeah, what's it? I lead others to a power I cannot possess. that picture just popped into my head. But yeah, which doesn't even make any sense that popped into my head. But fucking yeah, it is like the way I see it is like, I'll make whatever jokes until I'm told not to, but I have common sense as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not, as I talked about with Dylan, when it comes to race and stuff like that. Obviously, even in a joking manner, you can't go too racist with things. You know what I mean? You can't. Well, a joke I done on my stand-up gig was, I said I was coming home from a night out in town, and something really weird happened. I got into a taxi, and the taxi man was Nigerian, which never seems to happen. Obviously, fucking like, every second taxi man is Nigerian. That's funny. That's stereotypical. It's funny. But then when you go over a certain line, I think there's a line with everything. Do you know what I mean? But some people's lines are non-existent, and everything offends them. And they do, unfortunately, I don't like using the word, but they do fall into the category of snowflake. Do you know what I mean? That you see getting thrown around the internet all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like,
they probably shouldn't go to stand-up comedy.
yeah, no, it's sort of like, I don't see, it's weird because I feel like hopefully we've passed the point of that everything offends people, and it's not going to get worse, because if it gets worse, everything is just going to be censored, and everything is just going to be disclaimer. If you have that, this might trigger you, blah blah blah. Do you know what I mean? Like, one of the biggest things I suffered with was my panic disorder, and was my anxiety and depression. And if someone made a joke about that, I'd find it hilarious. Do you know what I mean? I really would. And that might be because it's my sense of humor and stuff like that. But I think as well, as I think it was Ricky Gervais who said this. It was just like, maybe it was, I don't think it was Ricky Gervais. Maybe it was. It was, if something offends you, it's not the joke, it's you. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't be mad at the joke. You're the one who's sensitive. And it's like, if you think that out of all the people who watch this video, that this is just personalized towards you, get off your fucking high horse. You know what I mean? This isn't about like exact your. Do you know what I mean? And again, it does depend in the context of the joke and everything like that. In the context of it, me personally, that thing about the kind of Me Too movement type of thing with her with the CPR and stuff, that's funny in my opinion. That is funny. And it's like, because you hear people saying all the time, I can't even hold the bleeding door open anymore, and blah blah blah. But like, and it is in a sense true, but like, sure, there was a girl, like, it's if anyone had a problem with it, you showed them proof. There was a girl who got saved from drowning by a fella. She's saved from drowning, and she brought him to court for rape. Because he touched her without her permission, because she was unconscious.
You're joking.
I swear to God. And
oh my God, this is like an outlandish sketch, but it's actually happening. Like
a few years back.
But this is why it's so hard to make comedy, because like, it's not comedy anymore.
It's
like real life. Like, you're just saying stuff that's happening now.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah,
I'm just making a documentary now. This is just a drama.
Literally, yeah. That's literally it. Fucking hell. But yeah, it's mad. It is fucking mad. But I think just keep doing you. Keep doing your. Don't let the pressure of will this offend people come over you. As long as you're not going on and you're not saying any derogatory words and you're not saying the N word, really, you're going to be defended by people who appreciate good comedy at the end of the day, I think. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but still, I think you have to be careful.
You do, of course. Yeah, you do. Well, you can't just have a fuck it attitude either. Do you know what I mean? You can't just fuck it, because you can. It's very easy for you to, like, there was a fella there, a TikTok fella, and he made a video, and it was a duet.
TikTok fella.
I don't know what they're fucking called. But,
TikToker.
Yeah, TikToker. Oh Jesus, yeah. Sorry, I'll go home. You can live here now. But someone get me a taxi. I'm gargles. No, but he made a video, and this is his kind of whole thing was duetting videos. Like, you know, if someone uploads a video, he duets it, so he puts his face beside the video while it's playing and films a reaction. It's usually to film a reaction or to do like to sing along to it or something like that. So he was making duets, and it was this girl, and stunning girl, and it says start of the summer, and she's like like, or started the lockdown, and she's filming herself in the mirror, and she's all sexy and flicking her hair and blah blah blah, and then just goes end of the lockdown, and she's well, by the looks of things, she's a boy, and she's quite a masculine boy. She complete switch of things, and he's smiling, and then he switches, and he just goes like that. Oh, that's all that happens. He's smiling, and then it switches, and he just goes like, what the hell? Like, kind of, she has a massive jawline, like a proper hair, everything like that. Like, she's built and everything, and it's kind of like a more of a shocked face that he makes. But he's had to been cancelled, and people telling him to kill himself and all. And you piece of fucking shit. Like the comments on it are like, wow. And he's had to get completely cancelled for changing his fucking facial expression. Because apparently that's against all the trans community and stuff. And like, I don't know, it's just weird. It's sort of like, obviously it comes from a place of when you've been a minority for so long and you've been bullied and harassed for so long, it's kind of hard not to be overly sensitive to everything, whether it be meant in a funny way or not. But I think, again, it just all depends on the line of offensive and the line of funniness. And that, like that, for example, that video, he actually made a video recently, and it's a video of a girl doing something, and he's just like that the whole time, and he's just like all smiles. He was just like all positivity, and people were commenting on it. They really cancelled you for changing your face, like, do you know what I mean, changing your facial expression. But
I mean, what does cancel to a TikToker mean? Just can't make a TikTok anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's not that bad, but I think since it has such a big following now, though, it kind of like it's huge now. Do you know what I mean?
That Go House, I don't know anybody in that. Like, they're supposed to be really popular. I must be so fucking out of touch, man. It's just this TikTok era. I'm only after getting into Instagram stories. Like, even Instagram, I'm like,
yeah. There's like, I mean, the only fella
fucking comedy in 10 seconds, like, without going or something stupid, like, oh look, I don't bleed, I don't even know. I can't even think of an anecdote.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, it's the truth though. It is fucking ridiculous, and it's like, it's weird. It's kind of, the thing about TikTok is, right, and I don't know if I was talking about this with Dylan. The thing about TikTok is like,
just get Dylan on the show, would you?
Well, yeah. Call him up, why don't you prprick? But to keep talking about
marry him, why don't you?
But it's sort of like, the thing about TikTok is, it's like they're trying to be funny, but there's also this fucking like underlining sexualization of everything. Do you know what I mean? Like, every dance that the girls put up is a big silly dance, but there's a part in it that you'll have to like shake your arse or something. Do you know what I mean? And it's all to do with like, and obviously the better looking girls and the better looking fellas are doing better. So if it's to do with funniness and if it's to do with talent, there's a lot of successful ugly comedians. Do you know what I mean? A lot of them. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, if it's to do with funniness and if it's to do with humor and stuff, then why are the ones who look like cover models the ones who are so up there? Do you know what I mean? I'm not talking about the Go House now. I don't know anything about them cunts. Do you know what I mean? I know Ryan makes funny shit. I think he's very good, and he kind of slags TikTok a little bit, but he makes funny stuff. But the rest of them are just TikTokers, and I don't know anything about them. But I just know that, yeah, there is a kind of air of like they know horny teenage boys are going to be watching the video, so that's why they're fucking getting so much clout, as they call it. As the blatant kids will be saying on the fucking WhatsApp. No, but it's kind of weird. I think it's like, do we have to tailor ourselves and tailor our comedy as creators to suit this fucking new ADHD fucking short attention span type of thing?
I mean, I've tailored myself down to doing 2-minute videos. Like, if you nobody on Facebook, which is where I get most of my views, they don't have the attention span for 2-minute videos. Yeah, that's even 2 minutes is too long. So I've already tailored my style of comedy down from like 6, 7, 8 minutes down to 2 minutes. Yeah. Like, imagine, do people watch? How do people watch TV shows?
Yeah,
half an hour.
They can't. Young like the younger people. The TV shows are just like slowly going out. Like, no one's watching any good TV shows anymore. Do you know what I mean? The only ones that anyone watches is Prison Break, because that's just fucking stupid. And
Prison Break.
Yeah, just so many people. I seen someone put up on my Facebook there the other day. I sound like an outfit there. The Facebook. But I seen someone put up. It was like a retweet from someone saying, I've refused to believe any TV show will ever beat Prison Break. And I was like, are you fucking joking? They just apparently, like, I watched season 1, right? Because I was like, right, I'll give it a chance. And I said to me, mate, Prison Break's, it's alright and it's a bit shit. And he goes, ah yeah, like it's decent, but he goes, after they broke out with like the third prison, I got a bit sick of it, and I'm like, is that what it is? I was like, is it just them breaking out of a load of prisons? I thought it was like they broke out of the first one in season 1, and then it was like the story went off, but no, apparently they get locked up a load of times and they keep getting back out, and I'm like, how the fuck can people say interested in that?
I think they had to break into a prison in one of them,
Yeah,
and break out of another one in the first one, and then the plane crashes. But that's Lost.
yeah.
But they all fucking blend into. They were of an era, and they
Yeah.
all blend into each other. Like,
Yeah, but it is true, like, as well, like, even my little sister, she was saying like she has to watch a film on with the subtitles on, and she has to turn her phone off because she'll just keep going on her phone, like, and her attention span is so bad. And I think it's like, and she doesn't have ADHD, right? Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of everyone is, it's kind of, their attention span has gone so short because of this flashy fucking new stuff. Do you know what I mean? That's just this new internet that's just all in your face and just like, quickness, funniness, quick joke, move on, get a like, share, and it's like everything's just so fucking sped up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fast Wi-Fi, fast this, fast that. It's fucking crazy. But
I don't. Like, you're saying that people don't have the attention span for I don't have the attention span for short ones. Like, I feel like if I'm watching something, I want to invest me time into it or something. Like, if I want to turn my phone sideways, watch a fucking 6 minute, 7 minute comedy sketch.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever watch All Gas No Breaks?
Rings a bell.
They do it. They just like interview people in America and like crazy fucking events, like the Trump rallies, or like it's comedy. Yeah, but that's good. Like, you can invest a bit of your time into that. Like, it's 5-6 minutes long. You're like, right, grand, I'll actually watch something. Yeah. Worth watching, that'll give me a bit of a laugh consistently, that I know will give me a laugh. Imagine you'd flick through about 15 of them TikToks before you find any of them bleeding amusing. Yeah, big time. I think 100%. And I think as well, like, I've often went on to watch like comedy, like stand-up clips, and I've seen that it's a minute and a half long and I haven't watched it because I'm like, because I don't want to. Now, Andrew, I can't pronounce the second name. Andrew Schultz, I think it's fucking Schultz. That's it, Schultz. I'm shy at pronouncing things. I'm fucking McGuigan's calling you McGuigan and him Schultz. Like, what the fuck is that? Sounds like a brand of Russian vodka. But so Andrew Schultz, was a bit our attempt. He said that he brought out a load of. He said that he was bringing out he was putting out long sets on YouTube of his stand-up gigs, and no one was watching them. And then even with these, I noticed as well, the average view duration is 5 minutes on a lot of the podcasts, and a lot of people say, I come back to them, and it's just like, but or it's like either 5 or it's a bit like, because people now, in fairness, people who watch podcasts tend to have a longer attention span. That's why you hear a lot of people say, I can't listen to podcasts. So, like, you know what I mean? Because I wouldn't watch a podcast on them. Yeah, no, neither would I. I'd listen to it. Stick it if it was on the bus or in work or something, like had an hour or something to kill, then I'd listen to it. That's why I'm gonna have this on YouTube, just for kind of just to have it there, and then I'll have it on Spotify. I think I'm gonna look into putting on that Podcast Addict as well, because that looks good. Like, but and then he changed his setup, and he was instead of bringing out the long sets that he was bringing out, he was bringing out 2 minute increments of all of them, and he said he was getting way more views. And I went on, I did watch them all. I went on their playlist, but I would have much preferred if it was a longer one. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's weird the way comedy's going, the way everything like that is going. Do you know what I mean? The way the internet now has a bigger impact than TV. Do you know what I mean? Way bigger. Like, whereas 10 years ago it wouldn't have been that. It would have been like. But do people know people on TikTok, or are you just looking at videos? Like, is anyone really a famous TikToker? I don't know. I actually don't know. Well, there's one girl who, Charlie D'Amelio is her name. She's been on do you know Gary V? He's the big motivational talker guy who says, like, you're so, whatever age you are, you're so young, man, you can do so much for yourself. He's like, has black hair, a bit weird looking. Oh yes, yeah. He has loads of. Actually, I have a box of cards that I got with his face on it in there, so I'll show you. You'll recognize him. But he had her on his podcast, and he's incredibly big. And now she's like, her and another girl, like Addison Rae is another big TikToker, and she's crazy amount of followers in America. It's kind of becoming the new what famous YouTubers used to be. Do you know what I mean? PewDiePie back in the day and stuff like that, and like fucking Shane Dawson and all them. Remember back then, like Shane Dawson, the YouTuber, and like he's still around now, but he's getting shit because he said he fucked his car or something. I don't fucking know, but like it's just kind of it is the new meta sort of, like, do you know what I mean? It's sort of like the new, like, people got big from YouTube at one point, and do they want to be? Do they want to be TV stars? I don't know. I don't know what the end goal is. I really don't. I don't know what the fucking
end goal is really. I think a lot of them are fucking stupid. Do you know what I mean? To be honest, and they don't realize like they don't know what they want. Do you know what I mean? They just want like they're just like addicts, which is everyone is. Do you know what I mean? Everyone loves getting likes on anything. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's an endorphin release, but I think it just comes. It does come down to that, and it's sort of like I don't know. I don't think a lot of them. I don't think many of them believe they're talented. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe they do. I don't fucking know. I hope they don't, for the sake of themselves. I really hope they don't believe they're talented. Like, there's a talk show. I'll send it to you. It's fucking atrocious. They're on. It's a lot of it's the people in the Hype House in America, which is the American TikTok house, on a talk show. And Jesus Christ, they have no personality whatsoever. And they keep like, anytime they're asked a question, they keep like mad awkwardly like looking at each other for answers and stuff like that. And it's just like it's weird that they've just put on. It's like completely different persona in these TikTok videos of this fucking sexy confident person who's doing like, I'll tell you blah blah blah. I don't know why I said that, but they're not a teacher, like. And then but I'll tell you, James. But it's like it's that kind of thing. It's like they're completely different to what they are. But yeah, I don't know the end goal. It confuses me. It does. I don't know the end goal with TikTok at all, to be honest with you.
Do you like them motivational speakers like V?
Sometimes they annoy me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like them. Sometimes it's good to listen to it and hear. Do you know what I mean? But then sometimes if you're like, weirdly enough, if I'm trying hard enough, I like them because I know I'm putting in work. But if I'm procrastinating and I'm not trying and I'm putting things off, I'm like, fuck off, I'm trying already. Do you know what I mean? When I listen to it, I'm like, I am fucking trying and it's not working for me. But it's kind of just anger at myself because I know I'm not putting in enough work. Like every few weeks there's a kind of pattern. Every few weeks I kind of fall off the podcast, kind of try and don't upload for a week or upload a half-hour episode. And I think what I need to do is I just need to have me guests planned out more and just get them done, because I love doing them then when I do them. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's something like that. But I want to. My goal is to upload every once a week for sure, some sort of podcast, and then once a month have something comedy related upload. So whether it be an impressions video or whether it be if I end up writing a sketch or something like that. And I think that's the way I'll be going with it, though. Do you know what I mean? What do you think of the motivational cunts?
I went to see Tony Robbins in England one time.
Tony,
do you know Tony Robbins?
I was thinking of Tom Robinson. Is that his name? What's his name? I was thinking of the fucking alt-right racist fella. What's his name? Tommy Robinson.
Is it
Tommy Robinson? Yeah. His real name is something Yaxley Lennon or something like that. It's like he has a really like upper middle class name, but he changed it to Tommy Robinson, so all the right wing Stella drinkers will be like, he's just like us, isn't it? So it's just like,
oh, is he English?
Yeah, he's English. Yeah,
right.
So but he's just he was in the EDL, the English Defence League, who were against pedo Muslims and stuff like that, and they were just trying to they're just a racist group, really, to be honest. But I recognise his name. Who was it?
Motivational speaker. He'd be one of the biggest ones now. Probably the biggest. He was at Conor McGregor's fight and everything like that.
Right. Yeah, I definitely know him then.
I just think it's such bullshit.
Yeah,
absolute brainwashing, marketing, ploying, crap. Like, you know what I mean? You can do anything. Like, if you put your mind to. I mean, like, you can do a lot, but like, not everyone can be successful. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, big time. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I find it can easily, maybe I'm just a negative prick, but like it can set you up for such disappointment.
Yeah,
I feel like true. If your expectations are low, you'll never be disappointed.
Yeah, it's the truth though.
Yeah, it's just weird, and it's suited towards Americans, because Americans are always chasing the dream.
Yeah.
Like always, chase your goal. Like they're always chasing something. They're never fucking relaxed and content. Like always after something more. Yeah.
I think the worst kind of motivational speaker, I wouldn't even call them motivational speaker, is the one of like, you to see ads pop up of it and stuff like that, or you just see videos of these like fucking, I'm gonna teach you how to be an alpha male type of people. Like, they are the fucking worst, and it's like, these are 3 things that will drive a girl fucking crazy, and I'm just like, oh, stop. And I can imagine some sad incel sitting in his room just being like, I'm gonna impress a load of women, and buying this book for $49.95 that this incredibly good looking bloke wrote, and said like, all you need to do is just talk like that. I'm like, yeah, well, obviously look at you, do you know what I mean? Like, but it's like, it's just it makes me, it is sad, because I know it appeals to so many fucking people and they will buy into it, but that kind of like, I'll teach you how to be a real man type of public speaker, they're the worst, like, do you know what I mean?
I know a guy that I work with, and he stops women in the street and picks them up, pick up artists, I don't know what but he teaches, he brings people on classes and brings them around, and I can't think of what it's even called, like, but door stopping them or just stopping them in the middle of the street saying, sorry, I had to stop you, but you are absolutely beautiful. And I'm like, but this fella's a hunk of a man. And I'm like, yeah, come here. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not going to fucking work for me, is it? And I wouldn't do it either. It's creepy as fuck.
I hate it. I fucking hate it. Especially them YouTube videos of just going up to girls and just being like, I have 3 questions. Are you single? Do you find me attractive? And can I kiss you? Like, and then they just like, and it's just these really fucking like tall jocks and just fucking wearing the head off girls who are probably in on the video for the whole thing, and it's just like picking up a girl at Starbucks and how to pick a girl at the gym, and all these sad blokes are watching it just be like, that'll be me someday, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, it breaks me heart. You know what I mean? Poor cunts. But yeah, no, it's fucking mental. But yeah, before we wrap up, because we've probably been going for a good while there, about 2 hours now, but I reckon
good luck at it and that
it was still it'll take me it'll only take me tomorrow. I'll just sit down for the day and do it. I like editing, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, have you got, so before we wrap up, have you got anything immediate that you're working on, or are you kind of waiting until the COVID blows over a little bit before you get back to action? Like,
no, I've a few I'm still obviously plugging away at the Windup merchants. I'm working on a pilot a pilot TV show, but who knows what it'll be.
Yeah.
You know, we might chop her up and make a mini series out of it.
Yeah.
2, working on one that's actually about Robbie Williams.
Class.
And then another one is about podcasters, 2 podcasters with Darren Conway, me and Darren Conway, and Jer Welch. Yeah. And Jonathan Lambert. Actually, everybody that I was mentioning. Yeah, so just them. And a few other bits and pieces, small little things here, but nothing worth really mentioning.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, that's good though. That's good that you're doing that, and thanks again for coming. I appreciate it, especially after the shift. Fucking bollocks. Yeah. No, thanks for coming, and hopefully, if there's any, I shared the recent Windup merchants on my Facebook there the other day because it was just too funny. But I'll be keeping an eye on any updates and stuff like that. And so that's it. And thanks everyone for watching again. The usual gig. That's it. Just
like, subscribe, share,
the usual,
comment.
Yeah, fucking.
Oh, you have to beg them. You have to beg them.
Yeah, if you do you ever see them YouTube?
Hit the bell over here.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna edit. I'll try to edit that in. I'm you fucking useless at editing. Right, go on. Good luck. Eat your dinner and fucking eat your greens and you grow to be big and strong. Just appealing to all the TikToks.